All right, I'm going to see if I can teach you how to run an independent samples t-test in SPSS in under 4 minutes. So if you are learning t-tests in statistics class, you have probably looked at that onerous formula for conducting a t-test and thought, oh my gosh. Well, the good news is that you live in times when we have computers to run these statistical analyses for you. And you're going to be amazed at how simple it is to conduct a t-test in SPSS. So I have a variable here called p-married, and that is, are your parents married to each other? And the responses are yes or no. And I have a variable over here called self-esteem. So let's say I had a hypothesis that students whose parents are married to each other have higher self-esteem than students whose parents are not. To conduct that, I would go to Analyze, Compare Means, and Independent Samples t-test. And here I have test variable and grouping variable. Your grouping variable is your independent variable. It is your groups. So in my case, are your parents married to each other? And notice it gives you these two question marks, and that is going to ask me to define my groups. What were the values that I gave each group? And in my case, they are 1 and 2, which is the default. And so I'm good there. The test variable is your outcome variable or your dependent variable, right? What are you testing these two groups on? And in our case, it's self-esteem. And then I hit OK. And I've conducted an independent samples t-test. So the important part now is not just conducting the test, which how easy was that, it's interpreting the output. So let's do that. So here I have my descriptives. I have a mean of 4.15 on self-esteem for students whose parents are not married to each other, and a mean of 4.25 for students whose parents are married to each other. And so the question is, are these scores significantly different from one another? That's what my t-test is testing. So I'm going to go down to this big intimidating graph here, but really all I'm going to look for is my t-test, because I am doing a t-test, and I'm going to assume equal variances, again beyond the scope of this video, but that's what we're doing. And I'm going to look at my t-value, negative 0.176, my degrees of freedom, which is n-2 because I have two groups. And then I'm going to look at either one-sided or two-sided. In my hypothesis, I made a prediction that one group was more than or higher than another. That is a one-sided t-test. So I'm going to look right here. And my p-value that I got on my test is 0.432. And I'm going to compare that to the critical value by default of p less than 0.05. If you need help remembering how to do this, think of it in terms of a dollar bill divided into cents. And you're going to ask yourself, is 43 cents less than 5 cents? Is 0.43 less than 0.05? The answer is clearly no, it's not less than 0.05. So this difference in means is not significantly different. Therefore, there is no difference in self-esteem scores between students whose parents are married and students whose parents are not married. And that's how I would interpret that result.